Okay, it's your man Crypto Blood here. I'm doing a new tutorial going through the entire Bloodalytics scalping system for you, which translates over to how things run on the Hedgelytics and the Moonalytics system as well. But this just gives you an overcap because a lot of updates have been made to this system over the course of the last 3 to 5 months. So I wanted to give you guys an updated crash course on how to properly use this tool, doing the new site and getting a lot more signups. There have been a few questions that I've noticed pop up. Make sure you hit that like button and let's get into configuring an infinite money glitch system for your trading career, all with the help of Bloodalytics. Check out bloodalytics.com. Scan that QR code you see on the screen right now if you want to find out more information on the Scalpalytics system, which we'll be going over today. This is the system that you trade manually, but in today's video, I will show you how to set up alerts so you're not just staring at the screen all day. You can set up alerts through TradingView. Depending on your TradingView account level will determine how many alerts you're able to do, and etc, etc. But I designed Scalpalytics in a manner where if you have a free TradingView account, you can utilize this system all day, every day. So let's get into it. This is how every scalp chart will look if you signed up for the BTC Ethereum pair, which we'll be going over today. You'll get a two-paned window from TradingView, and it won't activate. The link is public to anyone, but the indicators won't actually activate until you sign up, and we turn that on from our end. They're all pretty much, you get two per signal, and if you want to add more, you just sign up for additional signals there on bloodalytics.com. One thing that I have to mention that I've noticed a few times now is that people are wondering, and they're using this from their phone, and I don't trade personally from my phone, but I do recognize that I never explain how this works from your phone. Once you sign up and you sign into your TradingView account, you click that link. It's going to open the link that you get at the checkout, right from the Stripe checkout page. You'll see a link after successfully purchasing the algorithm. It'll have a link to the TradingView chart. The link is public, but it won't activate, and you won't be able to see the indicators until you pay for the subscription, and you give us maybe about 30 minutes to an hour to get you activated. You'll be all ready to go. We'll send an email saying that you are now live. Go back and click that link that you see there on the screen, and it will pop up this window. Now on the mobile, you will probably only see one chart available, okay? And that chart will most likely be the one on the left-hand side. So in the case of the Bitcoin and Ethereum scalping system, it will look like this right here, a one-pane window. But don't worry, you can always click the bottom right icon, and in some mobile devices, it will look like a number 2 inside of a square. You just click that and it will pop up another window that allows you to select either the Bitcoin versus USDT or the Ethereum versus USDT. But the main thing I want to go over today is how this system works, how to interpret the system correctly, and how to also manipulate the parameters if you would like, and add it to your own chart. You have the capabilities with this link. What you're paying for is essentially a fine-tuned system for each of these pairs that I've meticulously taken the time out to create for you. So this is out of the box, ready for you to trade and take the signals from out the box. And I maintain it. So this link, you want to bookmark it, because every Sunday I do push out a newly calibrated version of the signal for each of these pairs if need be. Some weeks I don't have to. So you just by default should always come back and check the parameters on the links that been provided for whichever one you've signed up for. So Sundays are your reset days and prepares you for the rest of the trading week. I only do it on Sundays, so not to disrupt continuity for the week in your trading. Just keep that in mind. Now, firstly, I want to just bring you to the fact that these signals or this script can be utilized on any pair you would like. So for example, all you have to do is go up to indicators at the top there, go to invite only, and you'll see the public Bloodalytics script available. You can click this here and add it to whatever chart you want. So for example, if you have a chart like this, and maybe you have an Elliott wave absolute distribution indicator on your chart, and you want to add Bloodalytics on top of that, all you have to do is go to indicators, invite only, and click that particular Bloodalytics script that you're subscribed to, and it will automatically overlay the script on this chart, whichever chart you're on. It works on any time frame. Now all three packages or subscriptions on the 1 minute time interval. These are high resolution signals, so it's down to the 1 minute bar, but this does work on any type of asset class or time frame. In this case, we have it mapped on the 1 hour chart on Bitcoin, and you can save this chart with the Scalpalytics system on there, and from there you can modify the parameters, which we'll go over in detail here in a second. But that's how you utilize this outside of the pre-configured scalping scripts that you get out the box. Okay, maybe you want to use it on a higher time frame, less trades, more accurate. You can do all that and set yourself on a path to the infinite money glitch system. One thing to note also that is non-related to the Bloodalytics system, but I have this on here to help everyone know and just get some type of orientation with where you are on the chart. We've added these trading session indicators to the charts. Okay, and so that's to help you see where your US time zone is, where London is, because I suggest personally, not financial advice or anything, but just from my personal experience, using this system during the US zone, or maybe even the London zone as well, works. I haven't used it in the Asian zone. That's something you could possibly do as well. It's up to you. I'm just telling you where I see the most success with these scalping scripts. Higher volatility, less back and forth. It just helps in the accuracy of your trading. Next, I want to go over really quickly the labeling of transactions or trades on the chart so that you have an understanding. You'll see a ledger on the screen right now that shows you exactly, and you can pause it to see it, but it shows you exactly what each of these trades and their labels mean. So of course, naturally, a buy label with a blue arrow means you're purchasing that particular asset. A sell is the opposite. You're shorting that particular asset. You also notice on the Bloodalytics signal L chicken when you're in a long position and S chicken when you're in a short position. These two trades represent taking 50% of your profits on this particular trade. So that means if you were entering this short here at 6:47 a.m. on a Monday at 8:07, that same Monday morning, you would take 50% of your profits at this point. And I'll have a link to the exchanges I find these scripts working most successful with. Most exchanges have a sliding bar, a sliding ruler bar where you can put 50% or 75%, 25%, how much you want to sell. This is at this point, you would put 50% in sell and lock in 50% of your profits. Every other signal, if it's a TP short or a TP long, will be 25% take profits or more. It's up to you. You can do 50%. I'm just giving you the modeling that I've come up with for this system to give you somewhat the same profitability that I've seen using this system. So again, L chicken, S chicken is going to be your first 50% take profit. Your TP long and TP shorts will be 25% profit taking events each time you see them on the chart. Next thing you'll see on the screen on the chart will be these red lines above markets where you're shorting and green lines below markets where you're going long. Quite naturally, that's going to be your stop loss area. Now, my suggestion is not to set hard stop losses at these levels because my system doesn't work on hard stops. I consider them soft stops. We could actually run into the zone and not get stopped out. You have to give enough room above this line if you're shorting and enough room below this line if you're going long so that you don't get stopped out or stop hunted. So I suggest maybe doing 0.1 to 0.2% higher than the stop loss on a short, which would look something like this. Maybe up all the way up to this area. That's about 2.2% above your stop loss on a short. And I would say the same thing on a long. Place that stop loss 0.15% below to 0.20% below your stop loss on a long. So that would be roughly right there. That gives us some leeway on the exchange. These prices are going to vary slightly We're using Binance as a reference because most exchanges use Binance plus maybe 2 or 3 other exchanges to come up with a reference price. I have to just go with Binance, right? That's why I say give yourself some room when setting your stop losses. Again, I'll give you a list of exchanges below that I use Scalpalytics and Bloodalytics systems on that I find the highest profitability and success rate with. Now, you'll also see these lines with a glowing dot that either trails above or below a particular entry point on your chart. This is what I call the bloodline. So the bloodline, basically a combination of all of the indicators giving you areas where trades might occur. And so for example, here we have passed above the threshold of where we would potentially go long. So we took that long there. The color changes throughout the trade, showing you kind of where potentially some bearish sentiment has occurred in a specific trade. That's all that line means or represents, kind of trigger areas where we will potentially go long or potentially go short. So before going into the parameters, because the parameters really only apply to those who want to add this script or this indicator to their own chart and create their own system based on their own parameters and their own feel for the markets. Again, create your own infinite money glitch. You have the capabilities to do that with Bloodalytics. Before we go into the parameters, I do want to show you, and this is very important. A lot of people have been asking, how do I set up alerts? Well, it is possible. Depending on your TradingView account level, it may vary as far as how many alerts you can call and trigger. I'm not positive on all the details on that, but you'll have to look into that on your end. But you can sync and create alerts that get pushed to, I think, emails. You can have them pushed to a webhook if you're savvy enough to understand that. You can have it pushed to an alert on your TradingView account. You used to be able to push alerts to your text message. I'm not sure if that's still possible, but the TradingView account, right, your mobile app, TradingView mobile app, that's definitely the way to go if you want to have alerts pushed to your phone and you get alerted on those Bloodalytics calls. So let me just show you how you do that really quickly. So on the chart, all you have to do is click the additional menu option, or of course you can just go into the alert section. You have to do this from the desktop, I believe. You go into the alert section and click add or create alert. Once you do that, you'll see it'll default on the symbol. Condition you want to actually be the scalp Bloodalytics signal. It's going to default to same as chart for the interval. You want that 1 minute. Open-ended, you might, depending on the level of your TradingView account, you might not have open-ended alerts available. Go out as far as you can. Set a reminder in your phone. If you don't, that's important to know because the systems will expire if you do not have open-ended alerts. The next thing is to go over to messages. You can put some type of alert name, Bloodalytics, scalp, ETH, USDT, and right here in the message area is where you want to change the message. So this is what you need. You can filter out all the other stuff, but these are the placeholders I suggest using when setting up your alerts for Bloodalytics scalping. You can add additional placeholders. By default, it'll have a bunch of other placeholders that you really don't need. These two are the ones that this is all you need. This the way I designed it. These are the only two placeholders you need: the strategy.order.comment and the ticker. So what that will look like is essentially it will say, in the case of a take profit short, you will get an alert to your TradingView mobile app that says TP short ETH USDT. That's how this would render in the mobile app. If you want, you can switch it around. You can have the ticker be at the front like this. So if you want to see that first, you can have that. But the primary thing is the strategy.order.comment variable or placeholder is the one you really need to know what the hell is going on, what action is being taken on that event. Okay, so that's all you need. And the next thing is to go over here to notifications and, you know, pick your notifying app. You can have a toast notification, which is a pop-up in the lower left window of your TradingView chart. You can have it send an email. You can have it do a webhook if you know how to use those, and you can have it play a sound or send a plain text via email. So SMSs are not available any longer. But again, if you just download the mobile app, you should be Gucci. You should have all that you need right there. So before we go into the parameter side of things, because that's really more for an advanced person that wants to take it further and above and beyond and make their own infinite money glitch system leveraging Bloodalytics. Before we go into that, just got to give you a rule of thumb for becoming or using this system and becoming a profitable, successful trader. The number one thing is not the indicator, it's not what time you trade, it's not which pair you trade, it's none of that. It literally comes down to money management, risk management. So just to give you a quick tutorial, this is off of BYDeFi. Again, the link will be in the description for this, but you know, I have a couple exchanges I use Bloodalytics on, but this one in particular, I want to just show you really quickly. A rule of thumb is to use market orders, but you can use limit orders to get in and maybe market out, or vice versa. Market orders to get in and limit out. It's up to you. But I will say a good rule of thumb, as you see here, for your first trade, most exchanges have these percentage bars. For your first trade, I would do no more than 5 to 7% on your actual trade, your initial trade. And if sometimes you can, you know, the market goes against you and you're not tapped, you haven't been stopped out, or you haven't got an alert for that or anything to go the opposite direction, you could double down and add another 5% to the trade if you're in the red. This is just a rule of thumb for me. I never add to a position in the green. I know that's some people only add to winning trades. I only add to losing trades because I already have my fixed costs as far as how much I'm willing to lose in the initial trade that I entered. So I'm okay with doubling down on a trade because I know I have a fixed, or very close to knowing a fixed range as when I'm going to cut my losses altogether for this trade. So that's why I say it's fine in this system, in my strategy, to double down on your trades if you're down in the trade and but you're still in the actual trade. You haven't been stopped out or reversed the trade. It's okay, you know, in my opinion. But again, that's how much you're using per pair, per trade, 5 to 7%. It's not a lot, I know. But you have to take into account consecutive losses in a row. This happens. You don't want to be trading 100% of your money and you take 3 consecutive losses. You don't want to have 3 or 4 of those in that combination or that sequence, and you know you're down 70% of your account. It's very hard to come back from 70% drawdowns. You have to do a lot of trades, and many times people revenge trade and end up making the situation worse. So keep it at 5%, 7%. And you say, CB, well, I'm putting it at 7%, 5%, and the trades are puny. They're small. I'm trading dust. Well, I would suggest probably adding more to your account. Or if you do have a micro account where you only have maybe $500 in the account, you got to be willing to look at that as, okay, I got 500 in here. I'm trading maybe 20% per trade. If I blow out of this, I have more money on the other side in the spot market on that exchange, or you can pull in more money and keep it rolling. But you don't want to use all of what you have in the account and trade it at 10, 20, 30% per trade, 5% per trade. You remember you got 2 pairs that you pay for at minimum. Maybe you have subscribe to the XRP SUI or the Sol BNB one as well. That increases the amount of pairs you are possibly trading at one time anyway, so that exponentially makes that 5%, that times it or multiplies it, and there you have it. You have a healthy amount of leverage on the table. So that's how I just wanted to go over that really quickly before going into the parameters and understanding that. So now on to the parameter side of things. Parameters, again, this is more advanced overview of how to utilize Bloodalytics, but I'm going to go through each and every one of these so you understand at least what is going on here. So the first one, shift. Well, shift is very easy to understand. It literally just shifts when it executes a trade. What do I mean by this? For example, we have a signal to go short. So you will actually end up going short right after the close of this bar. So right here, you'll go short. Okay. But if we change the shift parameter, you'll see it move to the right 1 bar. So now you won't be going short on this bar or the open of this bar. You'll be going short on the open of this bar right here, right next to the arrow. Same area, okay? But we wait to the close so that there's no repainting going on. So we don't want any repainting. I have a couple lines of code in the actual script to help mitigate repainting on some of my indicators as well. And if I move it over another one, it will go to the next bar and so on. So you can shift up to 10 bars. So if for whatever reason in your strategy, when you overlay this script on your chart, on your own chart, you can manipulate that. The next thing here, you'll see second trade setup params. So this is for if you are looking to enact or enable second trade. So let's say you enter long here, okay, and you want to mess with the parameters to add a second trade in. This is the area to do that. Candle length detection. So essentially, it's going to scan through the chart after you're in a particular trade. It will look for 3 bars going in a certain direction, either bullish or bearish, and it will look for that and count. So this will, the number of candle counts will kind of change the sensitivity of, or the threshold on when to actually execute the second trade. So that's the top part. This is like a pullback, like if you're in a trend or in a trade and you have a counter trend occur within your trade, these two parameters will help you do basically a pullback, and you can add to the trade. So you will play with these two parameters to get something that you find sufficient. The bottom two are also second trade parameters, but these are set currently to -1. -1 basically makes it not an option to trade a second time based on the pullback. So what does that mean? Or defender. So those second parameters, the first one is for longs, okay, percent diff from long SPL, percent diff. The second one is percent difference from short stop loss. So essentially, this is the percentage distance or delta between where you are after your first entrance, your first trade, and how close you get to your stop loss. So again, it's negative now, so it would never trigger a second trade no matter how close you got to the stop loss, because it would have to go negative, and if it went negative 1%, you would already be in a short trade, so it would never trigger. But let's say we wanted to have it highly sensitive where it's at 0.3% away. We want a high delta monitoring distance for triggering a second trade. I usually do 0.1%. So it'll be another 0 here. If you want to actually calibrate it right, it would be down in the ones. It'd be like 0.01-ish. That's kind of how close you want these trades to occur. You want it in the 0.01 or 0.009 even. Even down here, like 0.009 would be good. Because that's close enough to, and you can see it in this example, we got close enough to the stop loss to add another trade in, but it's not far enough away where it's adding another trade right after getting in the initial trade. So you want to give some room for an actual pullback, and this would have panned out very well for you. In this case here, you would have went long here and put a second long in right there. It also intelligently moves your stop loss down a little bit as well to give you some buffer room. So keep that in mind when doing the pullback or second trade parameters. You want to make sure that you understand you're going to double your risk, because adding a second trade is going to push your stop loss down even more to give it more room. And this worked out in this case, and you would have seen double the amount of profits because you have double the trade size on that particular trade. Again, these are parameters that you can play with, back test, and figure out what works for you. But these are here for you. Again, -1 pretty much eliminates that. 0 out the number of candle counts, and 0 out the candle length as well, if you don't want those to work either. If you don't want to have a second trade set up, then just 0 out the top two and -1 the bottom two. Next thing you have is your take profit and stop loss area. So these basically just, the first one is in the money. So essentially how I have this set up is that there's a threshold point. So anything above this threshold is when we are looking to potentially take profits. Now, the first time the chart or that particular pair passes this threshold of 0.82%, it's going to take 50% off. So once it gets here, it's going to take 50% of your profits. And then anything above that threshold, it will look to take profits additionally. Now, these TP long and TP short signals that you will get are dynamic. They're fluid. They're not fixed. So it could happen. And I designed it this way where it happens fluidly in areas where we see potential momentum changes within your trade. So here was the first one, or I'm sorry, here was the first one, the 50% take profit. That's a static one at 0.83% into your profits. You took 50% off there. And then we had another TP, which is dynamic, another TP down here, dynamic. And these are all dynamic take profits you're seeing along the way through the rest of this short trade at roughly 25%. So you're scaling out of this nicely throughout the day on this particular trade. TP percentage. So this is telling you how much you're initially taking off on the first trade, how much you're taking off, how much you're locking in gains. Initially, and by default, you have it at 50%. So again, the L chicken and S chicken will take 50% off this trade. You can have it where it's at 100%. And it will close the trade altogether, as you can see here. You can model it to see how that looks back testing it. You know, that didn't turn out too well, but you have full control in modeling your algo, the Bloodalytics system, the way you want to. So if you put this parameter at 100, it will take all of the profits on the first passing through of the threshold of whatever this number is, 0.82%. You can have it higher, you can have it lower. It's up to you. Sensitivity. So take profit sensitivity determines how active is the TP short and TP long take profits. How sensitive are they? If you want less take profits, you want to kind of hold these gains potentially a little bit longer, you can dial this down, or dial this up, I should say. So if you want it to be at 50, it's going to do less. So it's less sensitive the higher you go, more sensitive the lower you go. If you want to go down to 20, it's going to add even more. So it's going to lock in more gains more frequently. If you're right in front of your computer or actively trading, you may want to do this. If you don't, you say, I want to keep these trades a little bit longer, not as many alerts for the take profits. You want to increase this TP sensitivity. Stop loss, self-explanatory. This is in percentages. So, you know, I typically say for scalping, no more than 0.7. 1% is a pretty high scalping stop loss. I would keep it at 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, somewhere in that range, or even lower if you want. It just depends on how you want to set up your system. Now we're getting into the bloodline. This area, this actually factor and PD manipulates the overall structure of this line, and then you have the length, fast length, and slow length that helps with manipulating the color change, because if you're more sensitive on the color, then if we cross over this threshold and it's green, it might go long. If you have it less sensitive, it could cross over and it still maintains that trade that you're in. So to give it less signals or false signals, you could have these colors be a little bit more or less sensitive depending on what you want to do. So this area right here, bloodline, green, red, sensitivity params help with that. This line here, the bloodline param, this is actually the main component to changing the shape of and sensitivity of the actual line. And you can play around with these, figure out and back test and do all that good stuff. I hope this tutorial helps you out greatly. I sure think I covered a lot of the questions that I've been getting from the users as they're signing up. So if you have any additional questions, if I didn't cover something that you needed to see, let me know in the comments below. I hope this helps you create your infinite money glitch system using Bloodalytics. If you want to go down the advanced route by tweaking those parameters and adding it to your own chart, you're more than welcome to do that. We'll have the community set up on Telegram very soon where people can knowledge share parameters that work for them, they find successful for themselves, and just build a trading community together. But until then, drop a comment in the section below, like and share this video, And don't forget to check out Bloodalytics.com right now. Scan that QR code and view the numerous Bloodalytics trading systems we have. I'll do a separate video on the Moonalytics, which is the lunar cycle system that I've developed as well for TradingView. Pretty dope, pretty profitable. You might like that as well. But until next time, I'm out of here, people. Holla.